Disclaimer about YouTube ads. Because the channel is hosted on YouTube, some viewers may experience advertisements unless they have a YouTube Premium membership. Welcome to this session from the New America Healthcare Protocols, a guided experience created and voiced by Shay Wesley. And this is a space where neuroscience, breath, and awareness meet, a place to study your own brilliance from the inside. And during our time together, you'll travel through the landscape of your brain, exploring how calm breath, focused imagery, and gentle intention can teach the nervous system to remember balance. You'll hear language that speaks both to the conscious mind and to the quiet intelligence beneath it, inviting clarity, harmony, and renewal. And during this session, there is nothing you need to force. There is nothing you need to fix. I want you to simply allow the words, the rhythm, and the science to guide you inward. And every breath will be an act of listening. Every moment will be a conversation between thought and biology. So now, if you haven't already, go ahead and close your eyes and take in a nice slow breath through your nose and out through your mouth. And I want you to allow the air to move like a tide, gentle, rhythmic, and unhurried. And with every inhale, oxygen enters and touches the deepest parts of your lungs. With every exhale, the weight of the day leaves through the breath. And this simple motion is more than relaxation. It is instruction. Each calm exhalation travels down the vagus nerve, carrying a message to every organ and every cell that safety is present and repair may begin. So the pulse slows. The immune guardians in the brain hear that signal and stand down from defense. Blood vessels widen, allowing a smooth flow of oxygen and nutrients. Now I want you to imagine in your mind's eye with me, and I want you to imagine a beautiful soft light gathering above the crown of your head, golden, cool, and intelligent. And as it drifts downward, it loosens the forehead, the eyes, and the jaw. And this light knows where the tension hides. It slides along the neck and shoulders, down the arms, and into your hands. And you may feel warmth or tingling, or simply the sensation of awareness. But every place that this light touches is being told how to soften, how to heal, and how to reactivate in health. And inside, chemistry follows your thought. Cortisol begins to decline, endorphins rise, and your brain waves lengthen into the smooth curves of alpha rhythm. And this is how breath and awareness rewrite biology. You are literally teaching your cells what calm feels like. So today, we're going to teach your cells how to remember balance. And every cell is going to listen to the calm instructions. The pattern of health is written into your tissue. And I want you to imagine my words as a fine silver current running through every neural pathway. Synapses spark gently. Neurons align their firing patterns to the rhythm of peace. Glucose enters the cells evenly. No surge, no crash. We go back to sugar becoming steady fuel instead of inflammation's spark. And the brain, well, it begins to clear its own heat. Microglia, the tiny caretakers, they change color in your imagination from alarmed red to tranquil green. And they resume their rightful work, clearing waste, supporting growth, and building clarity. Now, as you continue to breathe deeply and gently, I want you to feel your diaphragm move like the sea. And with every breath, your central nervous system practices coherence. Heart rate, respiration, and brain waves falling into elegant harmony. And this harmony is the real core medicine. This body of yours is performing millions of adjustments, following the tone you set with one simple act: breathing into safety and breathing out release. Now, in this moment, I want you to imagine in your mind's eye a staircase made of light descending into quietness. With each step downward, your awareness is going to deepen. We begin with 10, 9, 8. You are descending from surface thought to inner silence. 7, 6, 5. Every number softens the muscles a little bit more. 4, 3, 2, and 1. You have arrived at relaxed energy and stillness. And here the chemistry of inflammation unwinds. Oxygen and antioxidants sweep through the bloodstream. And the sugar that once clung too tightly to proteins is released. Cells polish their surfaces clean. And the pure energy of life glows brighter inside every mitochondrion. And you can sense this as the subtle light begins to shine behind your eyelids. The glow of the brain reorganizing itself toward harmony and peace. So I want you to stay in this awareness for just another breath or two. You see, the body knows what to do when given permission. And here, with me in this session, you have entered the threshold between thought and biology, where intention becomes physiology, and physiology becomes peace. So now that your vessel has grown still, the deeper systems of the brain begin to listen. With every slow inhale, electrical charge spreads like dawn through the neural landscape. With every slow exhale, the static of overstimulation clears. Today your body is quiet, but the intelligence within the brain is wide awake, attentive to instruction. We've entered now the inner world of your own mind, the luminous architecture of your nervous system. Before you, billions of neurons extend like stars, connected by the filaments of silver light. And every pulse is a light of communication, a thought, a memory, an intention translated into chemistry. You are both observer and conductor here, teaching the system how to return to coherence. Now I'm going to ask you to breathe in the word balance. The vibration of that thought travels through the prefrontal cortex, down through the midbrain to the brainstem, and outward through the entire body. It is a signal of reorganization, a code that says, return to harmony. And we can feel the hemispheres sinking, left and right, logic and intuition, merging into one rhythmic field of understanding. Your corpus callosum glows like a golden bridge, fibers carrying messages in perfect timing. This is what integration feels like in neural form. Now I'm going to help you drift deeper now, floating down toward the hippocampus, the twin chambers of memory, shaped like two curled seahorses, and they pulse gently, taking in oxygen and glucose and converting them into clarity. And here you speak to them through thought. Remember peace. And each time you have recalled a moment of calm or safety, these cells have stored the pattern. Now they strengthen it. Their dendrites stretch, reaching for new connections, and neurogenesis begins. Tiny newborn neurons awaken, guided by your steady rhythm. And this is the biological mirror of remembrance, your focus teaching the brain how to regenerate order. Next, we're going to move to the amygdala, the emotional interpreter, the region that once burned with the language of alarm. But now, we breathe into it a cooling blue light and watch the heat dissolve as fear molecules, adrenaline and cortisol, fade from the synapses. And in their place, endorphins and serotonin begin to flow. You see, the amygdala learns again that calm is possible, and it rewrites its code for safety. And when you tell your brain, I am safe, the words are not metaphors, they are instructions. And the limbic system receives them as data and alters its chemistry accordingly. Now the light of awareness sweeps across the temporal lobes, where sound and language are born, and you can hear your own inner voice moving with precision, articulating wellness. And every phrase you speak becomes an electrical pattern, recorded by the neurons that translate vibration into meaning. And this is how spoken word shapes matter inside your skull. Sound becomes impulse, and impulse becomes structure. So now we're going to drift higher into the parietal lobes, where orientation and body awareness live. And here, the sense of boundaries softens. You can feel the edges of the body blur into the space around you. And inflammation, which once gathered at the edges of tension, releases as your circulation improves. Capillaries dilate. Oxygen saturates deeper into the tissue. And your cells are listening to the slow rhythm of your breath, adjusting metabolism in response. And every energy production stabilizes. Mitochondria hum quietly, creating light inside every neuron. Now we're going to follow that light as it travels toward the cerebellum, the region of balance and coordination. It spins like a wheel of silver behind the brainstem, and every rotation sends waves of stability through the body. Your posture aligns, muscle tone equalizes, balances, and heals. The inner ear steadies, and you are literally feeling equilibrium return, both physically and energetically. Now here is where we turn inward to the hypothalamus. This is the brain's regulatory command center. And here it governs your temperature, hunger, thirst, and hormones, the rhythms that keep life continuous. So today we speak to it with authority and compassion, and we ask it to regulate with grace, to balance with ease. I want you to see it respond, adjusting secretions, cooling inflammatory heat, moderating the release of insulin so that sugar is used wisely rather than wasted. This is where the understanding of mind-body connection, menu choices, stress, and mind converge. And when the mind is calm, the hypothalamus listens. It fine-tunes metabolism to efficiency rather than defense. And the entire body is beginning to conserve energy for restoration and reactivation. And through the visual cortex behind your eyes, you can see and imagine that the whole brain is illuminated, every region glowing in its own hue: blue for calm, green for growth, gold for clarity, violet for integration. And in this moment, your cells receive your presence as light. They do not question whether they can respond. They have already responded. You have taught them today the pattern of coherence simply by witnessing it and receiving it. And here is where you rest in this vision. The brain is not static. It listens. It adjusts. It remembers balance because you are giving it an example to follow. So I want you to stay here with me for a moment, floating through luminous corridors while the inner systems stabilize. I want you to hear the steady pulse behind the words, the rhythm that underlies all repair. Inhale, calm. Exhale, release. Inhale, order. Exhale, forgiveness. And your central nervous system entrains to that rhythm. The immune system mirrors it. Even the microglia hum in agreement. So I want you to see in your mind's eye the entire brain breathing with you, each lobe expanding gently on the inhale, contracting on the exhale. a living, rhythmic organism devoted entirely to you and your clarity. Here with me today, you have entered communion with your own intelligence. And in this communion, balance is no longer something to find. It is something you are teaching into existence, breath by breath. Today, it is through your own frequency that you are stimulating stem cell activity and causing biological repair. I want you to visualize this renewal and inner cooperation. How calm, focus, and self-care feel like regeneration. Now here is where we're going to drift deeper through the quiet corridors of your brain. The deeper you go, the slower everything becomes. The more natural, the more authentic. Your heartbeat, your breath, even your thoughts. This is where we enter the marrow of awareness, the level where renewal begins as idea before it becomes form. So here is where I want you to imagine an ocean of soft white light beneath your brain. And this is the field of potential, what scientists call the neurogenic zones, the places where new neurons can still be born. And in your vision, they appear as shimmering seeds resting in calm water. And every seed contains information: how to divide, how to differentiate, and how to join the living network. But they wait for clear instruction, for the right environment: oxygen, nutrients, safety, in order to begin their dance. So in this moment, I want you to take in a very deep breath. And I want you to tell them through your thought that your environment is ready. So now that every inhale, fresh oxygen floods the field, and with every exhale, warmth disperses the waste. This gentle rhythm imitates the cerebrospinal fluid's natural tide. And cells sense that rhythm and begin to move. Quiet division starts. Energy awakens. And it is not force, but permission that stirs them, an invitation to express their design. So I want you to see the new cells drift upward, carried by the flow of fluid toward the hippocampus and the cortex. They are small points of light joining an intricate constellation. And as they integrate, they learn from neighboring neurons, mirroring firing patterns, adapting to the song of the brain. And in your imagination, this looks like musical notes aligning to a key that already exists. The harmony is the pattern of balance being remembered. So now I want you to breathe in the word nourish. And I want you to feel how the body interprets it. Digestive organs soften. Blood sugar steadies. Circulation improves. And in the neural language of biology, this is homeostasis, the restoration of steady internal conditions. Too much sugar once meant erratic fuel, the neurons tired, the glial cells inflamed. But now, the fuel arrives in moderation, smooth and clean. The brain drinks it in like spring water rather than gulping fire. And this imagery teaches metabolism what calm distribution feels like. And you can imagine that above you, the microglia float like gentle caretakers, sweeping away all debris. And they move more efficiently in this more clear terrain. And every motion they make glints like silver dust. With each sweep, synapses sparkle. And you might even sense coolness along the scalp, or a subtle inner brightness. These are signs of focus returning, perception sharpening, awareness awakening. Whether felt or imagined, this is the sense of clarity returning to your system. So here is where we whisper, remember balance. And this phrase becomes a frequency that spreads through every neuron. Synapses pulse in rhythm, axons realign, and the brain's electromagnetic field steadies around a coherent center. And this field extends through the body, touching organs, skin, and even the space around you. You are teaching yourself coherence by receiving it, by embodying it. So I want you to visualize your bloodstream now carrying tiny packets of renewal, nutrients, antioxidants, hormones, each glowing softly as it circulates within. Now they travel through your arteries and veins, delivering the message of equilibrium. And in scientific language, it is improved perfusion. In spiritual language, it is blessing in motion. And every cell that receives this light adjusts its chemistry ever so slightly toward efficiency, toward healing, balance, and peace. The whole network breathes together, a single intelligent organism. So now I want you to take in a nice, long, deep breath. And I want you to allow the feeling of expansion to settle into your stillness. No effort is required, only your listening. The work is observation. The power is attention. The medicine is rhythm. And you are witnessing renewal as an act of awareness. So now the journey turns toward the emotional centers of the brain, the limbic system. And here, memory, feeling, and perception meet. And here, the stories of life are written in chemical ink. You have arrived gently, carried by breath and our intentions. Everything glows in muted rose and gold. Currents of warmth flow between the amygdala, the hippocampus, your thalamus, and your cingulate cortex. This is the landscape where emotion becomes instruction for the body. And you begin to sense the emotional charge that still lingers in these tissues. Tiny surges of heat, a throb, a flutter, signals of stored energy waiting for translation. But there is no need to push or fix. Simply acknowledge, I hear you. And when awareness meets sensation without judgment, neurochemistry shifts. The amygdala quiets its alarms, cortisol recedes, serotonin and oxytocin start to rise. That is the body's language for safety. And every emotion within you is returning to balance. Now I want you to take a deep breath in with me and draw that energy toward the heart. And when you release that breath, I want you to allow it to dissolve through the chest, the spine, and the arms. Now I want you to observe how the brain interprets forgiveness. Blood flow increases in the prefrontal cortex. Reasoning connects with empathy. And the circuitry of compassion lights up. Science calls this top-down regulation, but you feel it as peace. Now I want you to visualize something with me. I want you to visualize 4 lights circling inside your limbic system. Violet for fear, silver white for shame, aqua for grief, and crimson for anger. And one by one, I want you to breathe through each color. We begin with violet, and it cools to indigo. The signal of fear becomes curiosity. Silver white expands, turning shame into dignity. Aqua brightens, transforming grief into gratitude. And crimson softens, shifting anger into strength, guided by clarity. And each transformation is chemistry changing state. Neurotransmitters redistributing, muscle tone releasing, and heart rhythm soothing. So in this moment, we're going to whisper to your mind. Translate emotion into information. Translate information into wisdom. Now those words are going to travel along your neural pathways like a gentle current. And the cingulate cortex listens, moderating the dialogue between thought and feeling. Today, we are teaching you emotional intelligence at the cellular level. The limbic system, once reactive, now becomes responsive. Now in this moment, I want you to imagine a cascade of cool blue light pouring from the top of your head, moving through every fold of your brain. And where heat once lived, coolness flows. Where tension held, elasticity returns. And this light is symbolic of circulation, of oxygen and nutrient delivery. It is the physiology of calm written as color. And each breath circulates it further until even the smallest vessel glimmers with coherence. Now you may have noticed the heart joining in, its magnetic field extending outward, intersecting with the brain's field. And together, they form one rhythm, the rhythm of coherence. The EEG and ECG align. The metrics of emotion and thought synchronize. And you can feel that synchronization as a gentle pulsing everywhere at once. It is the inner signature of harmony, measurable in science, experienceable in spirit. So next, we breathe the word release. And as you exhale, the body interprets. Muscles unclench, micro tremors ease, capillaries open. Stress hormones clear through the liver and kidneys, replaced by endorphins. And you are observing biochemistry change through attention and intention, not by force, but by resonance, by alignment. So I want you to stay in this awareness with me for the next couple of breaths. And I want you to imagine that Each exhale sends a wave of compassion through the entire limbic network. Every neuron receives it, records it, and passes it onward. In moments like this, the brain learns that love is safe, that calm is productive. The old pattern of defense dissolves, and a new pattern of connection stabilizes. And you are now standing in the center of emotional homeostasis, the point where every feeling, even the difficult ones, serves integration. From here, the mind, heart, and body speak one language. And it sounds like stillness, yet within it is movement. And it feels like silence, yet within it is a song. So now I want you to imagine that the light within the brain begins to gather toward the center, and you can sense the entire nervous system preparing for synchronization, like instruments tuning to the same note. Electrical activity becomes rhythmic. Chemical messengers find their steady tempo. And this is neurocoherence, the harmony of thought, emotion, and biology. And this is where we can imagine the two hemispheres breathing together. The left hemisphere is analytical, structured, and linear. And the right hemisphere is intuitive, creative, and expansive. And then they reverse, sharing air, sharing frequency, and sharing understanding. And fibers of the corpus callosum sparkle as communication quickens, effortless and kind. And this is how insight forms when logic and imagination agree. Now I want you to follow that current upward toward the small crystalline gland deep in the center of your brain, the pineal gland. It sits like a pearl within the third ventricle, surrounded by the cerebrospinal fluid. Its cells are photosensitive, translating rhythm, light, and magnetic field into chemistry. So in this moment of quiet, it senses the pulse of coherence and begins to regulate its secret rhythms. And you can visualize it glowing with soft indigo light. And every inhale, the glow brightens. And every exhale, it radiates through the brain. Melatonin, the molecule of night and restoration, is imagined as a liquid silver flowing outward, cooling tissue, deepening calm. Serotonin balances mood. Dopamine sustains motivation. A gentle biochemical sunrise. This is the physiology of serenity expressed as color. So it is in this moment that we illuminate, we synchronize, and we remember harmony. And each of my words vibrates through the ventricles like a tuning fork. Your EEG patterns in this imagery become smooth waves. Heart rhythm follows, breathing aligns. And when brain, heart, and breath move together, the body interprets it as order. Blood pressure eases, muscles loosen, and focus sharpens. Science calls it parasympathetic dominance. Experience calls it peace. So now we're going to allow that indigo light to spread beyond your skull. Allow it to extend through the throat, chest, and abdomen, connecting every neural network of the body, the gut brain, the heart brain, the spinal cord. All three centers communicate now in coherence. Signals travel cleanly and feedback returns effortlessly. So within this loop, energy is conserved and awareness expands. And you can visualize the frequency of 528 hertz, the tone of natural resonance pulsing softly through the field. It hums in phase with the heartbeat, balancing every oscillation. And even the smallest cells along the skin's surface respond, aligning their electrical charge to the rhythm of calm. And you are not commanding this. You are demonstrating order, and the system initiates it. So allow the pineal gland glow to brighten once more, sending one radiant pulse through the entire brain. And it touches the hypothalamus, recalibrating temperature and hunger. And it brushes the pituitary, balancing hormonal signals. And it reaches the amygdala, soothing the memory of fear. And each structure receives the same simple code. Balance is baseline. Now I want you to remain here with me for a couple of more breaths. And I want you to notice how this clarity feels. Not as excitement, but as spacious quiet. Your new normal. And thoughts continue, yet they move in slow streams instead of storms. Perception widens. Comprehension deepens. This is the mind functioning in coherence. So now we are almost to the end of our session together. But before we leave this chamber of light, I want to pause to acknowledge the quiet partner who has done the work during this session, your subconscious mind. It has listened beneath the words, translating every image and breath into new possibilities. Today I want to thank it for its devotion, for the constant adjustments it makes to protect and refine you. Thank you for learning. Thank you for restoring. And thank you for remembering balance. So it is in this moment that you feel the gratitude ripple outward through every level of your mind and matter. Gratitude itself is instruction. It tells the brain to release dopamine and oxytocin, to strengthen the networks of optimism and motivation. And every thank you is a small electrical spark sealing the pattern of coherence that you have built during this session. So the light of coherence now begins to settle into your structure. And every rhythm that has been practiced in this session, your breath, pulse, thought, emotion, starts to anchor inside your body's natural timing. It is in this moment that awareness is distributing itself evenly, like nutrients carried through calm circulation. And what was once a visualization now becomes a felt coordination among systems. The brain acknowledges this equilibrium. Heart rhythm and brain rhythm continue to match, sending a coherent wave through every cell. So when you are ready, you can open your eyes. And as you do so, I want you to keep the feeling of balance within this movement, knowing that you've not left this journey, that you are simply bringing its rhythm with you into your waking day. So I want to thank you for listening. This meditation is part of the New America Healthcare Protocols, created and guided by Shay Wesley. And it was designed as a space where science and spirit meet inside the living intelligence of your own mind. Thank you for sharing this time of awareness and restoration, and may your thoughts remain steady, your emotions kind, and your light unmistakably alive.